that the game needs to be switched to their ballpark. I just don't. 20. How is 24 hours not enough notice? Are there that many people flying in from out of state, or people coming to the game that have never been to a Ranger game before? I mean,
no, their team sucks. They're out of the playoff race. I mean, they're going to go play in Tampa in front of what, 2,000 fans? I mean, come on, that's a joke.
They're actually playing in Tampa in a general admission setting. So so it's first come, first serve. So if you're in Tampa,
who the hell's going to that game? They didn't even go support their own team.
But if you go to the ballpark in Tampa and you're there first, you can sit in the most prime seat that's imaginable.
Here's what I don't understand, aside from Paul joining the podcast late, is how is this decision a better decision to go there and play the game for GA as opposed to just hosting the game at their own ballpark and at least generating some revenue, whether it's concession sales or whatever. Even if they don't charge anything, concession sales would generate something. I don't know.
In Houston, I don't know if they can play it.
No. They were going to switch to play the Rangers in Arlington
because they get the gate. They get whatever the gate is, I guess, in Tampa.
So do the right thing. Void the gate. I don't know. It's just weird. It's bad form. It's poor form.
The whole thing is poor.
It goes beyond that though, because when you're talking about baseball admission, you're really not talking about a whole lot of of money here, because when you've got a game, the 24 hours notice is what they're saying. Big deal. You have about 45 more home games to make that up. You never sell out a baseball game. This is not rocket science. The Rangers, incredibly bad form on this.
The Red Sox would beg to differ about selling out baseball games, but that's neither here nor there.
I'll give you that. The Red Sox are different because they have a much smaller ballpark and they pack it every night. But even the Yankees have seats available upstairs almost every game, unless it's the Red Sox or a big series. You could have made that up.
Overpriced. Their tickets are stink on ice. Fucking $1,200 to go sit in the nosebleeds.
It doesn't cost $1,200 to go sit in the nose.
Go with it.
It costs like $9 to sit in the nosebleeds.
Don't be a dick. Go with it.
Most ridiculous statement ever. $1,200.
Well, that's why those seats behind the fucking plate are empty all the time. But anyway.
Well, that's true. That's definitely true. But realistically, when you think about, you don't have to think about it too long to realize that whatever the decision was that was made here was the wrong one. I don't know that the Astros really had much alternative, I guess. I mean, I guess the alternative is to give up 3 games and go play in Arlington. Do any of you have any idea how far away Houston and Arlington are? I have no idea.
It's about 3 hours.
I think it's a fortnight.
Point. You said it's about 3 hours, white man?
Yeah, my sister lives in Arlington.
So she goes to her boyfriend's in Houston, so she would know.
So I got to imagine that.
Hope he's okay.
It'll be better for your fans to play that game in Arlington than it would be playing it in Tampa, right? Like, either be more Astros fans displaced making their way to Arlington than making their way to Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in disasters, they're very rare. I feel like they happen maybe once a decade. You gotta, there's certain things that everybody gets inconvenienced, but I can't even be devil's advocate for the Rangers on this one. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Not bad.
Once a
decade, it would have been a good look for the franchise.
Yeah. Paul, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Did we not start later? Did we not push the start time back? Did I miss something?
Yeah, no, you missed it. Are you drinking anything?
Yeah. I have a
if you say brisk, I'm gonna kill you.
That's brisk, baby.
Loser.
By the way, we have more people on this podcast than the Rangers have at that game tonight.
Hey-o.
I have a Green Flash Brewing Passion Fruit Kicker.
Ooh.
It's a wheat ale with passion fruit. It's kind of a tart. Never had it before. Just took my first sip. Pretty good.
I don't really like grapefruit.
That's a lot of words.
Passion fruit, buddy.
Passion fruit. That's all gross.
You know who likes passion fruit?
No.
Roseanne.
Roseanne Barr?
Roseanne Amato Genonana.
Oh, we're making a Nick's mom joke.
That's my mother.
I see what we're doing.
Liking every single Facebook post of all time.
Hey, at least somebody cares, all right?
You don't see Paul Yampolsky liking this thing.
Shut up. All right. I'm disappointed that our Turn 2 Sports and Beer podcast boxing expert did not check in today to talk to us about the blender that was the McGregor-Mayweather fight. boys, who watched it?
Me.
I did.
I watched
Yep.
it.
Okay,
I watched it.
so
Who paid for it?
as a
Yup.
as a gambler, Yampo, let's
That's its title.
talk to you and White Man first. First off, Yampo, did you have money on the fight?
I did not.
John, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so what did you bet?
I bet the over of 8.5 rounds plus 130.
Winner.
Wow.
Yeah, so I bet 250 to win 325, and then I wanted some money on Mayweather. So what I did was I looked at the undercard, and I bet the heavy favorites with Mayweather as the heavy favorite, and I turned a $250 bet into almost even money. So I bet 250 to win 215. So it was a good night.
Okay, so you walked away up how much?
Off that, I walked away
Wow.
up about 450.
All right.
It's Fugazi math. but
Big
okay.
money.
Minus the $100 for the fight.
Big money.
Right, minus the $100.
But I didn't pay. I was at my cousin's in New Jersey, so
Yeah, we're gonna take umbrage of that later on. By the way.
Yeah, what the fuck?
So Anthony, you watched the fight live?
I did watch the fight live. It was being streamed on Facebook Live, so I was able to catch the whole thing as it went.
Who? Just some random person was streaming it, or somebody? You
Yeah,
know?
one of my buddies from college shared the link, and I was like, "Oh shit, great!" Just logged in. And,
Oh man, that's got to be that's a whole new wrinkle. That's a whole
Yeah.
new fucking wrinkle.
as long as the sound is off, Facebook won't kick you. So they were kicking off a lot of other people whose sound was on, and this one they let go.
That's funny.
wow.
That's really funny.
I saw an article about that. They were cracking down on the people that were doing that.
It's got to be really tough to catch that, man. You know, like where's the sweet? Like if you don't promote that that's what it is, and you don't have the sound on, like who's watching that to make sure that? I mean, there's so many dopey Facebook Live videos like the one we're throwing out right now.
I was gonna say I could think of one.
We should have put out a link that said Mayweather McGregor. We would have gotten more than fucking 8 people watching this.
We should do that. We should do that and just have like Nick and White Man just standing in a ring in boxing shorts, just going like, yeah, see, yeah.
We could do the Rangers Astros game.
There you go.
Do that.
I'll go stand outside my house. It's pouring.
The biggest problem I had with the fight was it fucking started. First of all, I knew it was going to start late. Okay, I knew it was going to start late. But then there was that whole like debacle. I didn't have that problem here in Washington, but there was this whole debacle with like the HD feed or the feed getting all fucked up, and people were all bent out of shape. By the way, how is the HD feed $99 and the SD feed is $89? The SD feed should be like $59.
Yes.
Who watches SD?
Time out. The SD feed shouldn't exist.
Okay, I'll give you that. I was just trying to be realistic. It's like, how is it a $10 delta?
First of all, how about this? What person with standard definition television is like, oh, I'm going to throw $89 down to buy a fight?
No idea, but I want to meet that person. I want to
put
meet
it
them.
in a layaway for an actual TV.
It's like, is that for real?
Ridiculous.
For real?
That's what my dad would do. He's got an HD TV, be like, standard def. I'm like, Dad, fucking channel 4, 504, not 4, 504.
Screaming at
Would
your
you rather be standard deaf or standard blind?
Standard blind.
the same thing.
It's similar, a little less pixelated. Anyway, so the fight started so late, and I'm just getting too old. That thing didn't end till like 1:45, and fuck, man, it took me 2 days to recover, and I stopped drinking at midnight like a gremlin. I was like, I'm not gonna make it if I keep drinking. So that was my first problem with the fight. The second problem with the fight was, did he just totally come out and run out of gas in like 3-4 rounds? It was insane. I thought it was a great, entertaining 3 rounds, and all of a sudden I'm like, he's gonna run out of steam. He never has had to fight this long.
And
That was the point, I think.
well, and then Floyd says that was the plan, right?
Well, that's because Floyd's a piece of shit, but
I don't know.
he's probably right.
I think that McGregor made a big mistake in his pre-fight warm-up, because you're talking about a guy who's used to getting completely jacked before a fight. When they came in the middle of the ring, when the referee was giving instructions, he was huffing and puffing like crazy. And even after the first round, they had ice on the guy's chest. He was pouring with sweat. Mayweather was nice and calm. You didn't see his chest heaving up and down when they were giving the boxing instructions. I think he was already way too warmed up, like you would get if you're going into a wrestling match where they're warming up 45, 50 minutes getting their blood pressure up and running. I think it was a big tactical error on their part.
Yeah, and in the 7th round when he lost steam, he looked like Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's, just like throwing his arms out, just making believe he was alive.
I mean, I thought he did a lot better than I think most people thought. I think it was certainly competitive for 4 or 5 rounds, but the drop off was like visibly. It was like, okay, he's done. He's just out of gas.
Yeah, he hit a wall something fierce right after about round 4. I thought he did really well in the first 4 rounds. I think his style, kind of startled Mayweather a little bit, and Mayweather just put his head down, came at him over and over again, and Conor didn't know what to do. And I think given a rematch, which would be funny, but I think a rematch would be a lot different. I think that McGregor would go after him a little bit more than sitting back and waiting. But I've seen Floyd Mayweather make people miss over and over again and make them look like jackasses, and that didn't happen with McGregor. I actually was pretty happy with how calm and collected he was, and that he didn't go crazy trying to go for the home run punch all the time.
The issue with it too was like leading up to the fight, anybody that knew anything about boxing were like, he's not going to touch him, right? You heard that from everybody, including
Mickey
last week. He's not going to touch him, and that's just not how it went down. Now, I don't know if it was 2 guys in on a whole big rib on the entire universe, a $500 million gimmick, but whatever it was, he hit him more times than Pacquiao hit him in the fight that they had, and he went 2.5 rounds less. So I think it's a testimony to McGregor that he's a fighter. He had like 3.5 months to train for this thing. If he had a full year to train as a boxer, he might have actually knocked the guy out because he ran out of gas.
Yeah, and I think they called that. I mean, I get the whole thing about he was defenseless, and he was getting to the point where he was about to take a kill shot from Mayweather. I mean, his hands were down. He wasn't protecting himself there at the end. I thought they might have called it just a hair too quickly, but at the same time, you want to protect the fighter who's not defending himself and not let him get killed like Apollo Creed. But it would have been good to see one of those guys actually get knocked down. It would have been good to see him like just finish him off truly, right? Because McGregor was up, kind of laughing and smiling and whatever within a couple minutes after the fight.
Well, I think you kind of wait till you get at least one knockdown. He never really stunned him. He never really put him down to a knee. McGregor's fucking like at his post-fight press conference chugging whiskey, so I think he was fine.
Well, he's like, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. I want all that money.
I thought I stunned him with a hard left in the toyed round.
If you had money on Mayweather, you were nervous after the first couple rounds.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, some people. I heard a story. Somebody put up of people I know, 20 grand to win 6 out in Vegas. He was nervous.
Yeah,
you had to be.
I got a buddy who was with me for the fight, and he got eerily quiet. He wasn't really paying attention. And I was like, dude, he had these like 3 chicks there. He was like chatting with, and I'm like, are you watching this fight or like what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm watching. I found out afterwards he was sweating it because he put 5 G's on Mayweather in 10 or less, and he just barely squeezed it in there.
Whoa.
That's like a Yukon women's bet. Remember that stupid Yukon women's bet that somebody made that they laid like $1,000 to win 100 and they lost?
Yeah, except he parlayed that and won, 15 G's.
Whatever.
So learn how to box and learn how to gamble.
For me, I never understood how going into that fight anybody was throwing money on, like serious money on Mayweather. Like the odds were so bad that you had to put too much money down to win anything.
Yeah, I don't understand that risk at all.
Let me put it to you in like a financial return perspective. The guy who put $1 million down to win, $180,000, that's an 18% return. Most people would take that in a year on their money in an investment deal on a real estate transaction. So if you have that kind of money and you're going to put it down,
but it's not,
make it in one night.
There's way more variables at play with the Mayweather bet than there is a real estate transaction.
Well, we can get into that in a separate podcast. I'd be happy to entertain that.
Just at first glance, on the surface level, you don't agree with that statement?
No, I mean, I agree there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of variables in a real estate deal.
Yeah, but you're also not immediately out $1 million if you have some investment in something.
What do you think? What would your net worth have to be to put down $1 million on a bet? Maybe 100 million.
Not a boxing match. Yeah.
That's like the kind of stuff like Dan Blizzer in, or that fucking Instagram beefcake. Beefcake wasn't the right term I wanted. Fuck.
Yeah, Bilzerian.
Yep, that'll be a drop next week.
Fuck.
Beefcake.
Never mind.
It'll be a Yampo Cartman collaboration.
I'm drinking bourbon and I'm talking about a guy being a beefcake.
I do know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah, that's the guy who like throws $1 million down and doesn't give a shit.
He's an idiot. Comes from upbringing. Parents are probably idiots too. All right. The NFL preseason. Who put this one on? Who wants to talk about that?
I did. I just thought it was worth a little conversation. I mean, I think, does anybody feel like, maybe it just happens to be one of those years, but all these guys are getting, like, substantial guys are getting hurt this year. Like, starters on a lot of teams are going down. Is that just me, or is it just one of those years, or what's going on?
It's pretty normal, I think.
Yeah, I think it's usually worse than it is this year.
Really? I'm with you, Yampo. I think it's more significant this year.
Every day I hear like 2-3 guys are going down who are like legitimate starters and they're gone.
That it's like these ACL injuries are happening a lot more, I feel like, because I don't know if it's because of the trainers or the way that these guys are preparing their bodies, but I was asking my dad and my uncles, I was like, do you remember these injuries like back in like the 70s and 80s? And they're like, I don't remember them. Maybe they just played through them or what, but like these types of injuries are happening, I think, because of the way these guys are training. Maybe their muscles are just too tight. I really don't know how to explain it.
I also feel like we look at like the 60s and 70s and they're like, they didn't even know what an ACL was.
You're like, I tore my ACL.
That's a recent medical development.
I tore my ACL on the walk to school, and I walked there and back in the snow. Okay? So these guys can play a couple downs of football.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like in like 1972, they were just like, oh, his knee hurts. They were.
Yeah, they thought ACL was like a delivery service.
I would love to get like a vaudevillian recording of like, and Johnny DeFilippis went down with an injury. His ACL is out. He's out for the year.
I love how they all talk like that.
Yeah,
Like,
what the hell is that?
old school,
Oh, Nick, you fucking youngster.
old school carnival.
It's called vaudeville.
Hello, everybody.
Nick, where's the equate in the background, man? You use it all?
I'm done with the mouthwash. I finished it.
And now it's just that stupid Dolphins mini helmet that he eats Carvel ice cream out of.
Yeah, hold on. But in all seriousness, what are they going to do about this shit with the preseason? Are they going to do anything ever?
Nothing.
Are they ever going to change it?
I heard that they're going to put 2 preseason games and add 8 and make it 18 regular season.
Oh, yeah, you heard that? You're the only guy to hear that, right? You heard that?
I'm in, it's sports talk radio in between meetings, man. I actually
heard from a legitimate source, a.k.a. Boomer and Carton.
I would hate
Who was it? It was it was NFL XM.
Okay, let's go
And
down.
it's not going to happen.
Well, let's go down the line. If they were going to go to 18, in favor, not in favor, Paul.
In favor, but there's things around it. You have to expand the rosters. I think you need to build in another bye week, but I think it's possible.
All right, Nick.
I'm not in favor, and I do think they need to expand the rosters regardless.
All right, John.
I'm not in favor. I think everything should stay the same. I mean, you need it. You need it to cut the roster down to 50.
Yeah,
chance.
It's very important for evaluation.
Okay, Yampo.
I'm in favor only if it directly impacts removing preseason games.
Okay, so you would then have 2 preseason games and have 18 regular season games.
Wait, hold on. Let me just say something. You brought it up, White Man, but preseason sucks for us, but like the coaches need it. They need those games to evaluate these guys. Like you don't know 2 games who's going to make the roster, who's good, who's not. Like I think they need it for that evaluation period. It's not fun for us, but
No, I know,
it's
but
necessary.
Does it need to be 4 games?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
These guys are working out year round. These guys are doing 7-on-7. I know. Listen, I played ball.
Man.
I get it. I played ball. I get it. Like full speed, when you get the pads on, it's all a different story. And when you're hitting somebody else and not hitting your own team, it's totally something different. I get that. I don't understand. And you see a lot of these guys complaining because this is their livelihoods, and they get hurt in some fucking meaningless game. It's like, fuck.
So, Anthony, would you be in favor of going to 18?
Absolutely. I mean, far be it for me to want to watch the Dolphins lose 2 more games a year, but I would rather diss the 2 preseason games because, we can sit here and talk about they need the time to evaluate. Well, that's fine. Then expand the roster to 65, and you don't need as much time to evaluate. You also don't need to play these starters who've been in the league for 5 years. You don't have to play them in 3 games. In the third game, they got to play 3 quarters. It's stupid. That's why they're getting hurt.
I just the concept of taking 2 of those preseason games and now making them count as regular season games to me just makes it too long, because I agree with Paul. You're going to have to add a second bye, and then you're going to have to stretch it back into August. You're not going to extend it any further into the winter.
Why?
Get rid of the Pro Bowl.
Why?
Yeah, there's no reason for the Pro Bowl.
Why wouldn't you go the other way? You don't need to make it earlier. You can go on the tail end. What's the big deal if they play another 2 weeks into January and then the Super Bowl's played in the middle of February?
Because to Nick's point, the Super Bowl is kind of, and Nick, you made this point I think a couple weeks ago, that the Super Bowl weekend is kind of locked in. It's a specific weekend, first weekend in February. It's tradition. It's where it is. Like if you were to suddenly play this, closer to March, I mean, I don't know. I think they would play in the beginning. Maybe.
But hold on a second. If you eliminate the week off between the title games and the Super Bowl, then you actually don't have to add any more time, because you're not walking the calendar back at all. You've got the 2 weeks of the final preseason that would be regular season, so you're not starting any earlier. You're actually going the exact same amount of time.
Yeah, but then you'd have to add that second bye.
Yeah, but you use the last weekend of the bye before the Super Bowl as that bye. So you take that out and you put it in somewhere in the middle.
There's just no extra week, is what you're saying.
There's no reason to. All it is for hype.
I don't know. I think if you polled a lot of people, I guess from purely there's 2 different perspectives here. Obviously, as Nick mentioned, right? There's the coach, there's the players and the coaching guys, and the people who are actually involved in putting the product on the field, and then there's the fans. I don't think many fans would argue with extending it 2 weeks. I would love to see the Giants play 2 more games, even if they stink on ice. I would love to see 2 more games that count. But I understand the preparation and the necessity to understand and evaluate talent. I just have a problem with you always try and get through the preseason without injuries, and I guess that's just the nature of the beast, and that's just the way it is. But until you lose somebody like Tannehill, that sucks. Your whole fucking season is down the tubes before the guys even get out there and play a meaningless game. It blows.
Well, here's my question to you, though. Yeah, because you had said that you think that guys getting hurt in meaningless games. If you were to take those 2 games in the preseason and make them week 1 and week 2, somebody blows their knee out in week 1 because instead of not playing that 4th preseason game, now they're not playing that 2nd preseason game. So you're still going to have.
I know the risk is still there no matter what.
I don't know. I mean, you and I both think that the injuries are up. So one of you guys that thinks that they aren't up. I know, John, you said you think that they're about average. Do you think if you were to roll back the preseason to 2 games that you would still see those types of injuries, or do you think you would then see them in what would then be the new week 1 and week 2?
Yeah, I mean, if Eli Manning, how many quarters is Eli Manning going to play in the preseason? Maybe 4 quarters, 1 game?
Maybe.
Then he's going to be playing 8 extra quarters a year. I think that just increases the likelihood of injuries. You're going to have guys not ready to play. I don't know. I like the idea of watching a real 2 extra games, but I really love the NFL the way it is. That's all I could say. But change is the one constant, and I'd be open to it.
Which one of you else, Nick? Did you say that you think they're about the same?
Yeah, well, I think they just always have happened, and it's been maybe lately over the last 10 years or so. But to the point of the players, like if you interview these guys, they have been quoted as saying playing football on Sunday is like getting into a car crash. Like they are just beat up and sore for the next 2 to 3 days, and that's just at the beginning of the year. By the time December comes around, these guys are like limping to the finish line. And by Friday, it takes them until Friday or Saturday to get fully 100%. And I think if you're going to do 18 games, you got to do away with these BS Thursday games, because that just completely ruins these players and their bodies. I
agree with that. I was going to actually say, if anything, it's this money grab by the league to get football on 4 or 5 days a week, right? You add a Thursday game, you got Thursday, Sunday, Monday, and then in the winter, the last couple of weeks, you get a Saturday game here and there. So now you got Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's like the Thursday games, the product on those Thursday games is just dog shit. You can almost bet the under on every fucking Thursday, and win. It's almost guaranteed money.
I learned that the hard way. You're absolutely right, Yamp. I was going to mention that too.
I think you can make a case that if you change the bye week structure, that the Thursday game could be better. If you make it so that you have to have your bye week before a Thursday game, then you have a huge length of time between your last game and your Thursday game, and then even another 10 days before your next Sunday game.
Yeah, it just adds a whole nother wrinkle and complexity. Not that they can't do it. I think that's a good idea. I just think the complexity of trying to coordinate stadium availability and when teams go everywhere, it adds another layer to that. It's probably hard enough as it is. I think that's a good idea. I think that would be a great solution because honestly, these teams playing on Sunday, Monday's an off day, and then they got 2 days to prepare and get ready to play again on Thursday. It's like
It's impossible. That's guys get hurt a lot in Thursday games, and that's why. That's also why you were saying the scores are low and the game is dog shit. But if you give them that long bye, maybe if you add 18 games, you have a long bye before, a long bye after. Everybody's got to play at least one Thursday game. Now you don't have to add a week to the season.
I think you do even one better. I think you play 2 Thursday games, and one of them's in London. And so you play one game at noon, and you play the other game at night. So calling out of work on Thursday.
Here's the funny thing. We're all belly aching about the dog shit product, and yet I'm sure every single one of us fucking watches on Thursday night, at least for a quarter. At least.
I watch all the games.
I'll give you, hey, you Dolphin fan, I'll give you a way to get 18 games, make the playoffs, and win the first round game.
Hey-o!
That's a good idea.
That would be a successful season.
As the 3 Jet fans in the panel just say nothing.
Oh yeah, that goes to the Jet. That's to the Jet fans too.
Yeah, Johnny and I can laugh all the way home on that one.
Now, Paul, you had talked about making changes. You're the first guy that brought up the 2 buys tonight. Anyway, I mean, you're not the first guy to think of it, but what do you think? Go in a little bit more in depth as to what you think would make sense if they went to 18 games. Did you have anything else besides the 2 buys?
2 buys, 1 team.
2 buys, 1 team. Definitely. No, I think you need to expand the rosters. I think if you're gonna kind of put these players at risk for 2 additional games, you have to do something to kind of offset that because the league's kind of pushing this player safety thing. So if you expand the rosters, maybe you don't have as many guys playing defense and out on special teams, reducing the amount of injuries potentially. I think that's one thing. You have to adjust the salary cap to account for those extra players. I think it's just I think it's gonna be a headache. So I don't think it's gonna happen. But I think I'd rather see 2 regular season games than 2 dog shit preseason games.
Well, it has to be collectively bargained, right? So the next CBA negotiation is what, 2020?
2020.
I have that right? So, we're at least going to play the next, 3 seasons or 2 seasons under these rules without 18 games. It's come up at least the last 3 negotiations, right? I mean, this is not new. They've been talking about 18 games, it feels like, since they went to 16. I just, I think it's probably an inevitability. To me, I think you're just you're kicking the can down the street. Like you're going to have guys getting hurt in week 4 that would have maybe gotten hurt in week 8 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me ask you this question, throw another wrinkle into it. You say expand the rosters, both Nick and Paul. The rosters are at 53. I'm not sure why they're at 53, but the guys who are kind of fringe players on the wrong side of that 53, after maybe the next 10 men up, are those guys really worthy of being on the field on a regular basis on a Sunday? And
yes.
And what's that product look like?
Yes. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Mike McCarthy had a really nice interview the other day. He said, I categorize these players into 3 categories: good, good and great sometimes, and great. So, I mean, he's talking about how all these guys that people are bashing on this. No, good, and then great sometimes, and then great all the time. Because he's talking about how these guys that are even on the bottom of rosters are still very, very good NFL players. And if you give them the chance, they're going to be guys that can play on an NFL team. So
yeah, and they can all play on the Jets.
It's someone that can run down and
make a tackle on special
on a kickoff.
Yeah. I mean, look at these. When these teams are starting to cut the rosters, you're going to see all these other teams start claiming players. Why? Because there's still decent players that could contribute to a team, maybe just not on that particular team.
Like Lucky Whitehead.
I think you basically mean what you see your team and the Jets kind of do that stuff, but the Giants don't really rummage on the.
Oh, the Patriots rummage on the waiver wire every year.
Well, Brett's not here.
He's right though. I mean, a guy like Danny Woodhead was cut by the freaking Jets, went to the Pats, then went to
Wes Welker.
Right, Giants. You never pick anything off the scrap heap, Victor Cruz.
Initially brought him in off the street. He was on our own practice squad. He came from within.
He was legitimately on the scrap heap. He was like emptying the garbage out in MetLife Stadium. They're like, "Can you catch?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm good." He just walked.
Oh yeah,
I love chunky soup.
Now he's definitely going to make the Bears. Now there's no question with the other guy going down for the year. What's that guy's name?
You can't pronounce it anyway, so don't.
It doesn't matter. That's why I'm not even bothering.
Hey, that guy Travis Rudolph looks like a good player.
I'm not talking about the Giants.
Oh man, see,
He made one good catch. He went up and got a ball. Big deal.
I think the real question is if the roster's expanded to 65, would Colin Kaepernick have a job?
Good point. What are they now? 50 what? 52?
53.
53.
So you're saying you think go to 65? You think that's the number, or did somebody just throw that out?
I threw out 65 if you go to 18 games. I think even as it stands now, you should probably go to 58 or 59. I think every team can benefit from having one more offensive lineman, one more receiver, one more linebacker, one more D lineman to put in their rotations, even for special teams. But, I mean, the Jets usually dress 2 backup offensive linemen in a game. That is not enough.
And both play. But the interesting thing
Actually, they dress 7 backup linemen.
and 5 quarterbacks. But
They start 5 of them.
all right, you get this series. See what you can do. But what I don't understand is, like, what's the number in baseball? What do they expand the baseball rosters to? Because that's coming up, like, on Friday.
25 to 40.
What do they do?
40.
That's crazy.
40-man roster.
now not every team brings up 40 though. Like the Mets are too cheap. They don't bring up 40 because they don't want to pay
All right.
the guys on the end of the bench.
Speaking of
Major League Baseball salary.
Here comes Tim Tebow.
But so
Here comes Tim Tebow.
Speaking of paying up, you're gonna owe me 100, Jeff 100,
we're
Paul
not
100.
we're not talking Tim Tebow right now. So the baseball rosters are what, and then they go to 40.
25.
So they add 15 guys to it. They're all wearing numbers that are in the 60s and 70s, and they don't really, some of them turn into players, but most of them are young guys that haven't really had any
If
experience.
they eat fried chicken after midnight, they turn into players.
All right. But football, you don't have this minor league system that you could do that on a certain date. So you're saying all year long, Anthony, you would have these rosters, and Paul, you'd have these rosters expanded?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Paul, Jeff, I disagree. You have a practice squad you can pull from, so you could just add 10 spots and pull them off your practice squad.
Yeah, no, you're right. But then that changes the complexity of things. Where, like, if you put a guy on a practice squad, he could get poached earlier than somebody else. The rules would have to be adjusted. But
Yeah.
to your point, there is a built-in system as long as they adjusted those rules too. So I guess it was Paul. There's just too much shit that they'd have to change. Like they have to start working on this now if they ever actually want to make it a serious thing, right?
And for that reason, I'm out.
Bourbon in hand.
Mazel tov.
But the majority of us would go to 18. I think I'm in the minority. Who else? Is there anybody else that wouldn't go to 18?
No 18.
You said no 18. So
That also,
he likes them younger than that.
I mean, this is an aside and maybe kind of stupid or pointless to say, but it would also mess up the regular season records and stuff, like stats and stuff. I don't know if that makes a difference, but it would affect everything.
Who cares?
I had to hit you. Seriously, records in sports, they're just such a joke.
It'll affect the
Strahan's sack record. I'm in 16. I don't want that record to break.
Yeah, because Brett Favre literally went up to him and humped him and fell down to get the record.
What do you mean he tripped over the yard line?
That sack record is the most fake record in all of sports.
And that includes freaking Barry Bonds' home run record?
Yes.
Okay.
At least Barry Bonds hit the ball out of the park 74 times.
It's a good point, though, Nick. What is a sacred NFL record? Is there one?
Well, I mean, I'm saying like Peyton Manning's touchdown. I just said it just to bring up a point.
think-
I really don't care.
I think Brett Favre's consecutive starts is a pretty fucking impressive record.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that one I agree with. But you still have to play that many games.
Yeah, but then you're getting 2 more a year. Now you're getting an extra 2 a year.
Yeah, 2 more chances to be hurt.
Shut up.
Speaking of football, Marvin Lewis says that Vontaze Burfict has changed,
Oh, that's nice.
but he still hits like a cement truck.
It's another guy's name I cannot pronounce.
Vontaze?
No. Burfus.
Can't say Marvin Lewis?
Yep. Marvin. Call your cousin Marvin.
Your cousin Marvin Berry. Oh, God. Who cares?
Yeah. Who fucking cares?
Oh, this one was really stupid. Nike announced the newest colorway of Kevin Durant's signature KD 10 shoe on Tuesday.
Oh,
It's a red and black fly knit shoe with a frosty white sole dubbed the KDX Red Velvet. In the picture of the announcement, the shoe is surrounded by red velvet cupcakes. Johnny, this has got to excite you.
Yeah, he actually said that who would want to wear Under Armour shoes in that same press conference, and his teammate is the main Under Armour guy, Steph Curry. So
that had to be a fun jab.
Yeah, and he's right though. I mean, nobody wants to walk around in an Under Armour shoe. I was thinking the same thing.
Whoa!
I would never wear a Kevin Durant shoe. I think he's a traitor, and I think they should be called the Benedict Arnolds.
Well, you know why they're called the red velvet, and the cupcake thing is a play on Westbrook calling him a cupcake.
Yeah.
He's embracing that shit, which I think is funny.
That is good. That is good. I didn't realize that.
Now I love it.
He's monetizing it.
And for that reason, I'm going to buy 0 pairs at $450 a pair.
What are you more likely to buy, Paul? The KD cupcake shoe or the Lonzo Ball sliders?
Neither.
No, first of all, no grown man should wear fucking sliders unless you're a guinea on the boardwalk in fucking New Jersey.
Nick.
Hey, how you doing?
Nick ordered like 7.
Aren't sliders just the most ridiculous things of all time?
I'm just kind of mad that
They're fine.
Hey, Nick, can you copy and paste the text message from your uncle after this podcast?
Yeah, I will.
Who's that obnoxious bald guy? And I'm not talking about Brett.
I'm just mad that none of us that were in each other's weddings are getting married now, because that would be a perfect groomsman gift. Just Lonzo Ball sliders.
I thought you were going to go with the Josh McCown embroidered jersey. Paul would definitely get that.
I have one already.
Suddenly, the injury to Isaiah Thomas's hip is a concern for Cleveland. Like a bad poker player, they're now asking for more or threatening to back out of the trade. Johnny, does this have any legs to it whatsoever, or is it just posturing?
Well, I thought that the Cavs got the better part of that deal, but now that Isaiah Thomas is injured, the Celtics can't give up much more.
He's been injured since the playoffs. It's not new.
Playoffs.
Wait, yeah,
Playoffs.
I don't understand that. It's like, what kind of retrading bullshit is that? Like, you knew the guy was hurt and you fucking made the trade. What, you got buyer's remorse already?
And they are going to get a lottery pick next year from the Nets. So
Don't remind me.
Whose pick is that?
Stop it.
Wait, there's a Nets fan?
The Nets fans?
The Knicks fans have no room to make fun of us, please.
What do you mean?
No, they still had a
We're
team.
we're the most loyal bunch of assholes you ever met.
Yeah, uniforms and everything. It's really great.
But does it matter to you that he's injured if you're Cleveland? Like, are you really going to walk away from that trade because he?
Apparently they are. I got an update on my phone that they're really ready to walk away from it.
Oh, you and Johnny with the, you talk to somebody, you get an update on your phone.
Bleacher Report says so, so it's obviously true.
A source.
Jeff, on a serious note, how does that work? Like, is it like his injury, he doesn't clear a physical type situation or what?
No, that's exactly what it is. So not only would that then pull Kyrie back, but it also then puts his injury at like the forefront of any deal that Boston would want to make to move him.
There's got to be some sketchy bullshit to that, right? Like, hey, Doc, his hip is no good, right? Wink, wink. His hip's no good, right? Okay, we're good. All right, his hip's no good. There's going to be some sketchy shit with that.
Maybe,
Like,
but if you're Cleveland, like, what? I mean, I know that you're not a big NBA guy, Yampo. So I'm gonna table this for you for a second.
Thank you.
We'll go to our turn to NBA expert, Johnny the White Man. If you're Cleveland, what haul are you getting that's better than that haul for Kyrie?
I don't think you are. I was really impressed with what Cleveland got, and I thought they were better off with Isaiah Thomas.
I agree. I think they won that trade. I don't think it's close.
And Jay Crowder was a great pickup too to neutralize Draymond Green. I really like that pickup. But I don't know. This is a tough one. If Isaiah is just going to miss a month or so, I think you do the deal. But if he's going to be out for 41 games and he could miss the season, then there's no way in hell you do the deal. You got to keep Kyrie because this is going to be LeBron's last year in Cleveland most likely.
But here's the thing of it too, and then I'll go to you, Ann, because I think you were trying to jump in. Isaiah's deal is up after this year. So there's no way he's going to sit out a whole year. He's going to do everything he can to be back in December, and he's going to play an all-star level point guard play for this year with LeBron next to him, and he's going to get a ridiculous contract after that, whether it's from Cleveland or somebody else.
Well, I don't mind the Cavs making it difficult because Danny Ainge gets the best of everybody in every deal. So the Cavs should do their due diligence, and if there is a problem, then they should redo the trade.
They should have already done their due diligence.
Yeah, that's my issue.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but 41. Who cares if he's out 41 games? Who cares if he's out 81 games? The NBA regular season means shit. You mean to tell me that the Cavs can't be the third seed at the worst with just LeBron?
Well, you can't make that trade and not have the guy play at all.
But what I'm saying is that even if you're worried about him being out for 2 months, it's going to be irrelevant. The Cavs are still going to be in a position to be one of the top 2 seeds in the East. But at the same point, this trade was hugely in favor of Cleveland. For them to back out now, it's crazy. Now, I get it. Okay, so the Boston has 5 first-rounders in the next 2 drafts. So maybe you want to steal an extra one. But you're going to get a top 3 pick along with Thomas and Crowder and a big man from Europe that we don't know what he's going to do. This was a no-brainer deal for the Cavs.
And as long as he's back for the Christmas Day showdown against Cleveland with their Feliz Navidad jerseys, I'm in.
Whatever, yeah, Paul.
Who cares?
All right, move on from that.
I got you with that one.
Julian Edelman tore his ACL.
Just
Yes.
hit the soundbite and move on.
Michigan will wear all maize on Saturday, except for they're going to wear blue on their numbers and their neck. Like, I don't understand. They're like, oh, we're an all maize, but you're not.
Except for that blue.
But you're not.
As long as they don't touch the helmets, it's fine.
I don't get it. That's a big game now, right? Michigan and Florida. Florida's got a couple guys suspended for that game.
I don't know, Sean, what do you think? Okay. It's going to be like when I call them all fucking weekend in Atlanta.
That is. I want
And he doesn't answer.
Crickets on the other line.
It's gonna go. He's gonna hit the button, go straight to voicemail the entire time. After spending the entire last season at Rutgers, drunk and stupid, former Scarlet Knights quarterback Chris Laviano is pursuing a lacrosse collegiate run.
I don't get this, Nick.
I'll explain. I've witnessed him, this guy, drunk, stupid, on every single weeknight and weekend night. Doesn't matter what the night was. They were losing, 72-0 to Michigan or whatever the score was to Ohio State. This guy would be out immediately after getting his head bashed in by beer or liquor and all the above, asking my friends if they wanted to snort some coke behind a pizzeria.
And
this guy was like a complete mess during the season. Like he showed no sort of
he's a bum.
responsibility.
Didn't you go to Bosco?
No, that was Gary Nova. But I'm just
they're
saying,
all
like,
bums.
this guy has the ability to play Division I quarterback, and he just throws all that,
Timeout.
Rivers down the drain.
Is Rutgers really Division I?
Yeah, he's ability to play quarterback at Rutgers. Let's not.
Listen, hold on. You can. I'm gonna stand behind Nikki on this one. Okay, you can dog that shit all you want, but they're in the fucking Big Ten.
Come on.
Wait a minute. As a college coach myself, they are the biggest joke in all of college sports.
No, but they weren't, though. Like, before they went to the Big Ten, they were, like, at least a competitive program. And you can't just act like they're not.
A couple
What do you mean
of
for a
years
couple
before-
started
a
on
couple of
Ryder
years
track
before
and
they
field.
went. Wait a minute now. A couple of years before they went into the Big Ten, they had some decent times in the Big East. But you're talking about taking a team that cannot win a league game and putting them into the Big Ten. They don't belong there. The only sport they belong there in is wrestling.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
No, they're good in girls soccer. They're good in other sports. No one talks about it.
You led with that. Nick. Come on. I'm trying to defend you. They're good in girls soccer
and men's soccer.
Listen, they obviously the Big Ten wanted to grab a New York market. The only team is Rutgers, okay, and it's got to cycle through. I've said since day one when they joined the Big Ten, it was going to take 4 to 6 years. You have to cycle through that whole class. You have to start to generate some some prospects that are going to come as freshmen who will want to play Ohio State, Michigan State, and that doesn't happen overnight. That's going to take 4 to 6 years. And if they don't start to turn the corner in the next 2 years, then fine. I get it. They don't belong. Get them the fuck out. But they're playing. The knock on Rutgers was always they didn't have the schedule. They weren't playing the teams, and that's why they couldn't keep the recruits. Now, if you're a stud in New Jersey, you could see the field immediately, and you can play there, and you're playing Ohio State, Michigan State. You have no reason to go elsewhere.
But they're still not going there even now. I mean, these recruits from Jersey, these great players, are still not going to Suckers to play football. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
You got to pump the brakes a bit there, though, because it's just like everything else. All it takes is a big-time coach to come in there and do something. And so kids are going to commit to places where there's a good coach. And right now, I'm going to show my lack of knowledge. I can't tell you who the head coach of Rutgers football is. I can't.
I get that. He's a no name at Ohio State, but I get it. I get what you're saying.
But Anthony, to your point, like you're going to say the Rutgers sucks. They don't belong. Let's not forget the University of Michigan was an absolute laughing stock about 3-4 years ago. They were a complete joke. They weren't competitive.
And they lost to Rutgers.
They lost to Rutgers. Jim Harbaugh comes in there and turns the whole program around.
But you're also talking about a school that has a history of winning and national championships, Big Ten championships. You can't compare them to Rutgers. Come on.
Yeah, and by the way,
lost to Rutgers, though.
Rutgers' highest paid coach is Vivian Stringer. That program doesn't take itself seriously.
First of all, you're not wrong, Anthony, in the sense that the history of Michigan is out of control. The history of Notre Dame's out of control. Notre Dame's not any good. Right, but
they're not. But they're at least winning. Well, Michigan is at least winning some games in the Big Ten. I mean, you're talking about
now they are. They weren't before, really.
But you're talking about that the Big Ten wanted to grab New York market. Well, that only makes sense if the team they grabbed has a fan.
That's not true.
Nobody watches Rutgers.
That's
football.
Ignorant. That's really ignorant.
That is. I gotta crush you for that one. But at the same time, I gotta give Rutgers some credit. They're up in their game on who they're playing. They're playing Washington their first game out of the gate. That's a huge, Washington is a top 10 team. I applaud them for not backing down and playing fucking Howard. And
I'll take Washington plus 40.
Plus 40? I'll take that bet with you.
You got it.
All right. Hit me up on Venmo at Yampo when I win.
It's good.
All they got to do is lose by 39.
I hope you get like requests from our listeners in Utah and all sorts of other weird places that are like, at Yampo.
You could tweet at Turn2 or at Yampo 30, and we can do side bets every week. We'll get the Venmo rolling. We'll report it. We'll do a little gambling segment.
I like that.
I'll take
the line's only 27.
Rutgers, no matter what.
It's only 27.
Yeah, it's only 27.
Yeah, well, he already gave me plus 40.
You got it. I'll still give it to you.
The line is literally 27.
It started at 31. It started at 31. Now it's 27. So money's going on Rutgers.
It's at 27 now.
Some creep just knocked on my front door. I'm scared.
It's JP.
Lock him up.
It's JP. I gotta tell you, Rutgers plus 27. Lock it in.
Listen. I just want to point out
for the win straight up.
I want to point out this right. This week we had the most listeners we've ever had from the state of Washington. So that right there was exactly why we talked about Rutgers. So good luck because you have a lot. You have a lot to live up to that week.
The Huskies.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about Rutgers' schedule. You're like they're not playing Howard. Their second game is Eastern Michigan, and their third game is Morgan State.
Yeah, I know, but normally they lead with like 4 or 5 total fucking bombs. They're going out and they're playing a top 10 team right out of the gate.
The best.
They've got to play their 5 high school teams to get a bowl game.
Oh, from the guy who fucking coaches at Ryder.
somewhere,
Hey, wait a second.
somewhere in Washington, they're like killing Washington. They're like, oh man, they're not even trying. They're opening games in Rutgers. Rutgers is
No, but
the first that
the
argument
point was like
Washington.
they scheduled these home and home games, right, with these teams that are out of conference. And like when they scheduled the home and home with Washington was like a mediocre Pac-12, Pac-10 team. And then all of a sudden last year they opened up the season in Washington and they want to be in a college football playoff team. So like I kind of got screwed on that end.
Do you think if you look at Washington's schedule, it has like Rutgers and then New Jersey in quotation marks or parentheses? Because no one.
Yeah, I feel like no one knows where Rutgers is.
Rutgers probably more likely to like stage a protest against the name Washington.
Do you remember how terrible? you remember how terrible their helmets were back in the early '90s? It said New Jersey NJ Rutgers on the side instead of fucking Scarlet Knights. NJ Rutgers.
Did JP design those helmets?
Nick, I did not design those helmets, but my grandfather was involved in that, and he did help, so I'm offended.
He does have a Rutgers license plate. No
Wait,
joke.
who does?
JP.
Oh, Christ.
So here's my question to you, though, Nick. So I guess with all things considered, you're not going to be going out for drinks with Scarlet Knights quarterback Chris Laviano as he pursues his lacrosse career.
He's not there anymore.
He's a jackass.
Where is he playing
All
lacrosse?
right, this is what happened. He was pretty much told that he wasn't gonna play anymore.
You didn't see that coming.
I didn't. Listen, Nick. In all fairness, I didn't even see that one coming.
Well, that's because it's usually you. That's why you didn't. See
Me and Yampo are getting more and more alike as this podcast goes along.
That's a
Terrifying.
great thing for you. You are wise beyond your years.
You're like his Padawan.
He's still a Dolphins and Nets fan, though. He's still screwed.
Yeah. That's
How does one become a Dolphin? I know a Dolphin fan is obviously your dad, right? But we didn't. How did you become a Net fan?
Well, they were the New Jersey Nets when I was growing up. I used to go to the games all the time, watching Jason Kidd and Vince Carter do alley oops.
So
yeah,
that was
that's when Brett was a Nets fan. Remember?
no.
And then the Lakers beat the Nets, and then he decided to be a Lakers fan, and then the Nets moved to Brooklyn. It was cool, and now he's a Nets fan again.
Yeah,
It comes
my
full
dad's
circle.
friend got tickets to Nets, so I used to go to the games all the time.
What you gotta,
It was either Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Richard Jefferson, or Stephon Marbury. So who do you think I'm choosing?
Nick, you got to explain to me the whole Guinea Dolphin affiliation, because I have a couple Jersey buddies who were like Dolphin fans growing up, like Chris Pepe is a Dolphins fan.
All Italian New Jersey guys are Dolphins fans.
I don't get it. What's up with that?
I beg to differ on that one.
They're all in sanitation.
Waste management.
What does that have to do with being a Dolphins fan?
I'm not answering this because I'm gonna get the button.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna give the button.
It's only when he leans forward. When he leans forward, you know you're screwed.
No, it's funny because a couple of my football coaches too, Anthony Egidio, Italian guy, Dolphins fan. I don't know what it is. It's just like must be something from Long Island, but I think it was just the Dan Marino years kind of brought people into the Miami.
Was it the
I think it
Isotoner
was Ace
Club?
Ventura.
Ace Ventura? I think it was the movie. Yeah, his acting career really took off, and Little Nicky was good too.
The Italians really love
Snowflake.
isotoners.
Snowflake.
Right.
I got.
And you can quote him.
All right, let's go to last call. John, I know that this is going to be sad for you, but Cespedes is done for the year, and David Wright has mailed in his rehab assignment. So.
Fuck is Jay Bruce?
We're a very long way from the 100-win proclamation you made way back.
What's their record right now?
Oh, they're like.
Wait, hold on, I got it for you right here.
Who cares?
That's what their record is right now.
Oh,
No, seriously,
So-
how many
so-
games under 100 are they?
16.
That's not terrible.
16 under.
Wait, hold on. They're how many under?
16.
So they need 16 wins. There's 16 wins under 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fine.
You know, Dominic Smith is batting below 200. Ahmed Rosario is doing okay. And you're just playing for 2018. And yesterday I did text that the Pope, that guy Hubbard from Scientology, the chief rabbi on Twitter.
Where we go with this?
What? And Donald
And-
Trump?
what the hell?
I asked for prayers for the 2018 season.
Oh my
I also
Johnny.
tweeted at the Dalai Lama.
Johnny, Jose Reyes in left field
Oh, and Tim
tonight.
Tebow. I tweeted at Tim Tebow too.
Jose
Reyes-
Reyes in left field tonight.
Oh man,
That's not real, is it?
Yes, that is.
I call them the New York non-contacts. Man, all they do is get non-contact injuries.
Anthony, put the man boobs away.
I'm actually showing my rider pride.
That's good. That's good. You know, the Big Ten's looking for a New York team. Maybe.
Yeah, they called Keene College. Don't worry.
Well, Monmouth basketball, my alma mater, did beat Rutgers last year. So
The best is you guys aren't privy to this, but I'm on a text thread with Anthony and JP, and Anthony just starts trying to kill Rutgers, and JP just fires back with like a ridiculous amount of Rutgers knowledge, and all Anthony's comebacks are like, "Yeah, Rutgers sucks." Like he doesn't.
He's a Rucker hater for no reason.
He doesn't
You
even have.
probably got denied application, right?
I didn't apply to that school.
Doesn't everybody in New Jersey automatically get in?
Pretty much.
Terrible. That's
The answer is no to that, Yampo.
Matthew Stafford's new contract, $92 million guaranteed.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
It's what the market dictates, supply and
The
demand.
market for a middle quarterback. No wonder fucking Kirk Cousins turned down the Redskins offer. Jesus Christ.
You think Matthew Stafford's a middle?
He's the only chance they have, Yampo.
You
Is
think
he a top 15 quarterback?
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah.
15?
Yes.
14?
Yes. Top
Okay.
12, I would say.
I'm just saying that's middle of the pack. A middle of the pack quarterback is worth 92 million guaranteed.
Look at Joe
I think he's
Flacco's
top 10.
contact.
You think he's top 10?
I think Stafford had a great year last year without Megatron. I think he kind of worked his way up into that number 10, number 9 spot.
I mean, the guy can slang the ball, but fuck. Maybe I'm just jaded by the team surrounding him.
I mean, he
I
definitely
think-
deserves Tim Hardaway Jr. money.
And he's not worth the money they gave him. Neither was Joe Flacco. But that's the landscape. If you want a franchise quarterback, whether you're top 5 or top 15, that's the money it's going to cost you.
Jesus,
Yeah, but you are jaded because you don't remember what it's like to have Dave Brown throw quarter.
that's probably right. You're probably right. I remember the Dave Brown, Kent Graham, Jesse Palmer years, and fuck,
Dan
they were
Bell.
miserable.
right.
The Bachelor.
I'm telling you right now. I heard today. It was Greenberg and Stugatz talking on ESPN Radio, and Stugatz said, "I'll give you the next 5 first-round picks for the Jets for Matthew Stafford." I mean,
Yeah.
like you don't know what it's like to not have a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
In your history.
Yeah.
I guess it just seems like a lot of money for a guy who's just like, okay, he's okay.
I think he's good.
I think
He had a great year last year. Look at the stats. You have to forget that he's a Lion for a second. Look at his stats.
Can't.
plays in
They don't
Detroit.
they don't run the ball.
And I totally forgot.
Without him, they'd be like a top draft pick without him.
Yeah, but I thought you'd be into this. You're a Detroit lover.
Oh, my wife is
Go
from
green.
Detroit. Go white.
Is your wife is Joni happy about the money that they're throwing?
She has no clue, and she walks in the door from this, this preschool fucking teacher's mom, whatever she's doing. She's a room mom, so all the room moms are getting together drinking fucking Pinot Grigio and rosé. And when she walks in the door, and I tell her Matthew Stafford got $92 million guaranteed, she's gonna say, "I should have married him."
Wow.
She's right.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
She's like, I bet he's not drinking bourbon by the glass on Tuesdays.
I just had one. I had one. Fucking jerk.
All right. Anything else from you guys? Let's go down the line, Paulie.
No, Yankees got to pick it up a little bit. They benched Judge for a couple days. Nick, shut the fuck up.
Baseball's right around the corner.
Yeah, they set Judge for they were going to sit him tonight, but they didn't. But I guess they got
They
ring.
postponed the game. Yeah. So hopefully it gets them back on track. But playoff push coming. So
We'll see.
see what happens.
Niggy.
All the crap that's happening in Houston. J.J. Watts put together a hell of a campaign to fundraise. He started out as like $1 million goal. He's already surpassed like $4 million now over like 2 days. It's incredible to see what kind of support he's getting and the type of effort he's putting in to help that community.
He got $1 million from the Titans owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Good stuff. Although I will say, Darren Ravel kind of did some shady fucking reporting. I guess the Stros donated $4 million, and what's the other team? The Rockets donated $4 million, and then he showed Houston Texans $1 million. Like, come on, man, don't do that shit.
The Rockets owner actually ponied up $10 million. I saw today too. So.
It's like not the time to be a fucking troll.
This is completely sports related, and don't take it as insensitive because I know that what's going on down there is ridiculous. But do you think Carmelo is still dying to get down to Houston? Sports related.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, is he really? Do you think he pulled that That clause?
He's
Well,
still
it could've
playing for the
happened-
Knicks, so
happened here.
Queen's dying to go anywhere.
He was here when we had Sandy.
Supposedly that's the only team he wants to go to.
I think he likes. I think he likes New York.
It'd be easier for him to throw the ball into the ocean.
Oh, Sandy.
I'm coming home.
That's what's going down in Houston is going to be far worse than Sandy, I think.
What's that? Trying to figure out how Chris Paul and James Harden are going to play together?
That's a lot of beard.
What do you got, white man? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it, man. Go. I'm looking forward to football season, and I think that Indiana covers the spread against the Buckeyes on Thursday night.
Ooh, what's the spread?
It is 21, I believe.
Okay.
Mm.
You should parlay that and the Rutgers. That's a
Big
good
winner. Big winner.
Rutgers,
almost
Rutgers
gave 50.
just implemented a student section jacuzzi for their home game, so that'll be
Stop.
fun.
No way.
I swear, yeah.
Huh.
That
Well, they
won't,
gotta
be, filled,
attract
that
them
won't be
somehow.
filled with puke or anything.
Puke.
21 and a half. 21 and a half.
How pissed are you about that?
Over under pukas in the pool.
How do you get that ticket?
Over under STDs transmitted.
Chlamydia in the pool.
That's a
Okay, chlamydia. Okay.
foregone conclusion.
Okay.
You have to show your naps.
Keep chopping. Okay. Keep chopping.
Naps.
Dave McMahon naps. Anthony, what do you got?
The New York Jets roster.
Who are these fucking guys?
It's it's just terrible. We got nobody, no players, nobody on offense, couple of rookies on defense. It's going to be a horrible, horrible fucking year.
I was at the game, the Jet Giant game.
The Giants game. You were at the Giants game.
Did you stay past 12 minutes?
It was it was a Giants home game. As a Jets season ticket holder, my rep got me into the Porsche green room, which was all
Oh.
food and drink, and we got field passes to kind of watch them warm up, and it was a cool experience. I will say Robbie Anderson might be the skinniest human being I've ever seen, and if I saw him in person, there's no way I would know he was an NFL player. Like
Who?
exactly, our number one receiver.
Number one receiver.
Yeah.
Is he on low
He
carb?
looks like a basketball player.
He's not even that tall. I'm telling you, a lot of those guys are not that tall. My brother's looking at me. He's like, I'm as tall as these guys. I'm like, yeah, and you're in as good a shape too, you fatso. What do you got?
So I'm gonna need to get the Snapchat password online. What's our Snapchat?
I'll give it to you right now.
No, don't. But what's our
It's
Snapchat?
lit.
Everything is at Turn 2 Podcast. Everything.
Okay, I have a problem with social media, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I am legitimately. Our Snapchat will be lit. I'm going to be at the Bama FSU game. I'm going to be the drunkest. My wife is going to hate me, and I'm going to fucking find Sean Farrell.
So it's a typical Saturday.
Typical.
Hit us
going
up
that
on
game?
all social media at Turn 2 Podcast. Our Snapchat.
At Turn 2 Podcast.
Will be lit.
It's going to be lit as fuck. I mean,
Is
it's
it
going to be
lit?
more lit than Brett in the bleachers.
I'm just mad that Brett's not like snapping on our Turn 2 Podcast Snapchat while he's driving home from Florida because he won't get in an airplane.
Because he's an asshole.
Keep your eyes and ears open as we maybe we're going to be changing in the next couple of weeks. It shouldn't do anything. You should automatically just be transferred to the new podcast, but a different name might come across your feed there. So thank you for taking the time to listen. Washington, we appreciate the support, and
Not DC.
go Rutgers.
R.
Lady across land. Goodbye, Mrs. Adieu. Auf Wiedersehen. Gesund. Farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee. Now I signed on a Yankee Clipper ship. Davy Crockett is the name, and the captain's name it is Burgess, and they say that she's a floating shame. So very well, my own true love, when I return.
That's it.
Alrighty.
Rutgers.
A lot of Rutgers
You really hate the Dolphins and Rutgers, don't you?
Well, I hate Rutgers more than I hate the Dolphins.
Wow.
You got to understand something. Being friends with JP is like being engulfed in in body fat and Rutgers.
I didn't know people could hate Rutgers that much, considering they're so like irrelevant.
Dude, his license plate is RU big.
We're still live.
Now we're not.
Oh fuck! I put that on the.